Honey, you're broke. You don't buy a house when you're broke. You are broke and in debt. You make $35,000 a year and have a 3-year-old and you're 24 years old. You don't go buy a house right now.
We are back with some financial TikToks. We have Dave Ramsey, Caleb Hammer. Some of these are so insane. People are so bad with money, and sometimes people are clueless with money. This first video is very, very interesting. Let's get straight into it.
You didn't call Dave Ramsey and ask to go into car debt, did you?
Well,
Good.
I need
I'm glad
a
you
new car,
didn't.
and I want a reliable one. But can I get a reliable car for
Sure.
$6,000?
Oh, absolutely. It's not 6 anymore. It's 5 because you got to pay to get out of this parents' mess.
Yes.
So you got a $5,000 car. Yeah, you can get a decent car for $5,000 because you're not driving this thing for 10 years.
No,
You're going to drive
I
it until you save up some more money because you don't have a car payment and buy a better car. So how much car payment were you thinking of doing before you called me?
$500 a month.
Good Lord. Okay. And so if you did let's just pretend for a second. Let's say you wrote a $1,000 check and you sold the piece of crap car of your parents and got them out of their mess, okay?
Okay.
In other words, we got $3,200 or $3,000 for it or whatever. That leaves you about $5,000 to buy a car. You buy a $5,000 car and you pay yourself $500 a month for 10 months. Pay yourself a car payment.
Okay.
That'd be another $5,000, wouldn't it?
It would.
10 months from now, buy another car with $5,000 cash and the trade of your $5,000 car. That's a $10,000 car. Now we're getting into a pretty good car, and that's only 10 months away. In the meantime, you drive a $5,000 car.
Okay.
And pay yourself a car payment, and you don't go into debt for a car ever if you want to build wealth.
Okay. This one, maybe the most controversial. The comments say it right away. Dave, please go buy a $5,000 car and try to last it a year without spending what it's worth in maintenance. Another comment, I've been in the auto repair industry for 20 years and I haven't seen a decent $5,000 car since the pandemic. It will likely need repairs and throw a wrench into Dave's plan. Now, I used to think that a 5K car, that you could live off that. I did. I recently, though, no. So just like these comments since the pandemic, it's not happening. And I actually know this from experience. I live in California, Northern California, so I'm not in a big city or anything like that. And I've been looking for a truck to split with my dad. A literal old beater truck that we can use for hauling stuff around that we don't need, taking stuff to the dump, putting bricks in it, all this kind of stuff to work on different houses. That's what we're looking for a truck for. There are none out there for 5K that I would even consider. And I'm not, now hear me out. I'm not looking for a nice truck. I'm not looking for a truck that's even been made in the last 20 years. We're looking way back. You can buy like a 1990s truck with, one of them had 190,000 miles on it and they're asking $7,000. And so he's telling her to buy a car she's going to use. This is a truck that we're trying to buy just for like random moments where we need a bed to haul stuff in. If she's going to use one of these cars as a daily driving vehicle, there's no way. Plus his plan, it doesn't make the most sense to me because she's going to buy a car for 5K and sell it in a year for 5K. She's going to put a bunch of miles on it. She's going to have to put stuff into it. Nice cars need repairs and whatnot too, and upkeep. It just doesn't, this one doesn't make any sense to me. And I follow Dave Ramsey's methods. I like a lot of what he says, but this just shows he's out of touch. And maybe this is an older video, and it's not. They posted this a week and a half ago. It's out of touch to think, and maybe in his area, Tennessee, maybe you can. But the problem is when you throw out blanket statements like, oh, just go buy a $5,000 car, it's just not, it doesn't make any sense to most people, especially with the car market now. So I think this is a swing and a miss.
$10,795 student loans. What's your minimum payment? Like $125? What?
I'm not paying it. I can be honest about that. Because they've been going down on their own. So I'm thinking the government got something to do with that.
Are you sure you're
Never
not getting
paid a
an
dollar on
automatic
it.
withdrawal?
Where would they pull it from?
Garnishing your wages before they hit your account? Why are you not paying this?
You see how they're saying 2% paid off, 1% paid off?
Yes, you've probably paid some money towards it at some
That's
point.
not me. That's what I'm saying. Somebody's doing some magic right now. I was going to let the magic keep happening. Maybe Joe Biden was going to take care of that like he said he would.
He tried. The Supreme Court said no.
That's why I was waiting.
What's your degree in?
Criminal justice.
Okay, why are we not working in that in any way whatsoever?
By the time I was about to walk across stage, I decided I don't want to do that no more.
Okay, but you got a degree. We can at least utilize a bachelor degree to hopefully get into, some positions, and maybe customer service positions, maybe sales positions. It helps us get in the door.
That's why I got to get back into the club.
10,700.
That's not even a lot in student loans. I don't understand why you would not pay that. The comments are so funny. Yeah, 10K in student loans is nothing. It's not a lot. It's light work. I'm thinking the government has something to do with it. The government is not just forgiving your loans one payment at a time. This is a little bit painful. I like Caleb Hammer. I do think he does a pretty good job with stuff. He's in a little bit of a controversy right now. If you guys didn't know, one lady came out that was on his show and complained about a bunch of stuff, and it's a little bit rough, but people like this drive me crazy. I'm not paying it. It's going to go away. It's not going to go away. They're not going to forgive student loans. I do not think that they will.
You can't afford to go out.
I can.
No, you can't. Income that came in was $1,600. Rent is $12.
Girl math.
That's your. This is not a joke.
I'm not treating it as a joke. I mean,
It's girl math. Math says it's about 80% of your income.
yeah.
And you bought $1 of Apple stock?
Yeah, I tried. I genuinely didn't know what it was, but I've heard people like opening stocks and like getting more money and being successful with it. So I was like, let's try it. And I got 96 cents out of it. So I use a lot of girl math. I use a lot of like,
That, first of all, that was a meme from like 2 months ago. The internet moves quick.
yeah,
And second of all,
it's bad.
math is the real math when we're actually talking about your life and improving your situation.
But if real math doesn't work, then we transition to girl math and we use it to live.
Oh, your rent of what again?
Almost $1,400.
Okay, it's 70%. 70%. You cannot afford it. It shouldn't be higher than 30%.
I just don't understand how you're making $1,600 a month. That's kind of insane. Like, I mean, full time, you make more than that full time. I made more than that working summers in high school. That is what I made working summers in high school. We were limited and we were making like $11 an hour. So I'm not sure how she's doing that. Rent is tough though, because stuff like this, you can't live everywhere that you want to. And I think that, I'll be honest, the younger generation doesn't understand that. Living in big cities, living in expensive areas is a privilege. You're not owed living in a big city. Nobody owes you or should pay for your stuff for you to live where you want to live. If I wanted to live in New York, I don't expect people to pay me to live in New York because, I want to do it. People keep thinking like, it's where I want to be. Well, you got to make it happen then. It doesn't matter if rent is high. You have to make it work. I don't understand that idea of, it's like, I deserve it. Maybe you do, but that doesn't change how much it's going to cost you. I don't know. Caleb Hammer, I think he's really entertaining though. This one's good.
I won $36,000 at the casino.
I think you got lucky.
Yes.
Instead of losing a pile of money, you came home with a pile of money. That's the worst thing that can happen at a casino because you're so dumb. Then you go back again thinking you're that guy. And so I'm cashing this money out, paying off these credit cards.
I won.
That's wild. Winning $36,000 at a casino is insane. He's probably lost more than that, all the times he's been to gamble. Maybe not. Maybe this was one in 1,000 people that does well. I always love anything to do with gambling. People always say, fun fact, 90% of gamblers quit before they hit big. Absolutely insane. You'll be like, on different TikToks, they'll have people that are like obviously addicted to gambling, and people comment this, and it's so bad, but it is really, really funny. Now this next one, we're going back to Caleb Hammer. Check this one out.
When
You have a shopping addiction.
I did go crazy because I didn't have clothes.
This is the girl that has been like talking trash about Caleb Hammer all over. She has been like so saying that he's super rude, all this stuff.
fit me right. I want to present myself well if I'm
Yes.
single.
No, I want that too. But does that mean going and spending thousands of dollars in 1 month at Kohl's and Old Navy? Get a couple
how
outfits.
much do you recommend someone spending a year on clothes?
It's going to depend on their financial situation. You're in debt, you don't have an emergency fund, and you're behind in retirement, so yours would be less than the average person. Obviously, kids' clothes, if they need clothes, putting cleats in there if they need to play basketball. But you justified this by saying you wanted to open your closet and everything in there was what you love. That is not a necessity. Are you saying you had 0 pieces of clothes that fit?
Yeah, I had no sweats or yoga pants that fit.
What about everything else, though? You
What am I
mentioned
gonna wear in the winter? I don't want to wear jeans every day.
If you have to rely on a credit card for emergencies because we don't have enough saved up for an emergency fund, we are okay wearing jeans for 2 months.
I did for a long time before then.
Years.
Then you could have gone 2 more months. Popeyes.
The ending. Popeyes. Clothes. I mean, I don't know. I'm a dude that buys clothes once a year, and it's all I need, and I like all my clothes. I do not care. So I understand. But spending $1,000 in 1 month on clothing, and if you have kids, everything changes. Everything's expensive. You want them to have nice clothes. I get that. $1,000 a month is a ton. That's what that's probably close to what I spend every 2 years. She spent it in 1 month. More car advice from Dave Ramsey.
You're making $30,000 a year. You're driving a $17,000 car. Well, that's just nuts. That's just nuts. You're making $30,000.
Okay, I actually agree with that. I do whatever the hell I want, so out of touch with reality. No, okay. This is where it gets interesting with the Dave Ramsey stuff. $30,000 a year is not enough. It's not. You have to make more money. Maybe this person's in school. We don't know the full clip. Maybe they are in school, and that would be different. If you're driving an expensive car, you need to be making a good amount of money. If you need to drive an expensive car, no one needs to. If you really want to, then you need to increase your income. You don't. It just, people get mad at Dave for saying stuff like this. But the thing is now that's interesting is a $17,000 car is like almost lower end of what you can get. You know, I think 10,000, maybe you can get a pretty decent car for 10,000, a Honda or Toyota that's older. But a $17,000 car is not like a nice car these days. It's not even close to it. I think you have to get into the 30s to get like a nice car. So that's just my opinion, though. I do think that there's some merit with what Dave is saying on this one. And people might get upset about that, but feel free to let me know down in the comments.
You quit and couldn't pay your damn bills.
Because the job sucked.
You chose that.
I didn't know it was going to suck.
You chose to quit.
Because the job sucked. Okay.
How are you going to survive? Just how are you going to survive? You're always going to find something you don't like about a job. You've quit multiple jobs. You're job hopping. Your feet hurt. They work me like a slave. All these other little things that you say. How are you ever going to land a job that you like and don't quit after 3 months?
Well, after maybe talking to you, I might not quit my jobs.
Yeah, you might have a fire lit for a week, but if that is your mentality, that scares me for the longevity of your life. How are you going to build a career anywhere?
I don't want a career. I hate careers. I just want.
Do you understand the economic structure that you live in?
No, I don't have a career like, oh, I want to be a lawyer. I just want to get a job and be financially stable.
A lot of that comes with building a career, though, at a place and getting raises and benefits and survival, gross.
I was thinking about like getting passive income, like, you know, get a rental property and have them.
How possibly would you get a rental property? You can't afford an apartment.
In the future.
These always kill me. And this is where, like, I think if this person went on Dave Ramsey's show, I think he would actually die. I don't think he'd be able to survive these calls. And, like, no hate to this person, but it's just so entertaining. And this is what Caleb Hammer does, is he has people come on the show that know nothing about money, and they talk about money. And it's just anyone that knows anything about money, it's entertaining. So she doesn't want a career. She doesn't want a job. She quit one job and didn't have another job, so she's out of money. She doesn't have an income. She wants passive income. Everybody wants passive income. Duh, that's everyone's dream, is passive income, but you can't just be gifted it unless your parents are wealthy or you win the lottery. You know, it's not like passive income is something that you can do full time. Unless you have money, and I'm sorry. By the way that she strikes me from this video, owning a rental property is impossible for her. She doesn't want a job. Does she understand how much work rental properties are? Does she understand any of that stuff? You know, I'm not going to hate on her too much. She's probably young. But this one, I just found this to be hilarious. And it's sad, but it is really hilarious.
What is this car?
2019 Honda HRV.
We have the balance, $28.49. Minimum monthly payment.
See, I mean, HRV, that's a very typical car. That is not an expensive car these days.
$458. What is the interest rate on this thing?
6.99. I had a Nissan Altima, but the AC had blew out, and I was already having like car problems with my Nissan Altima.
I had a 2013 Altima, and the transmission died like immediately. There was a year range where the transmissions were funky.
Yeah, I traded it in, and it gave me 9 for the value of the Altima, and owed 6. So then that's why I had just got a Honda.
She's still
Like,
old.
that's
Well,
why
you
I'm into
upgraded
this.
pretty
now.
heavily. This car's too expensive for you. For your income now, it's still too expensive. I mean, the balance on it is half your income. What is this car?
2019 Honda HRV.
Okay, so that's interesting. Yeah, she is probably making around $60,000, which I don't know. That's a mix. That's where the Honda is going to be reliable. Here's the thing: if she keeps the Honda for 20 years, then I think it's a good deal. 7% APR sucks. Monthly payment of $460 is a little bit high. My payment on my car is, I don't even know, four something. So it just really depends on how much money you make and what you're gonna do with the car long term. But they're saying that Caleb is beginning to be like Dave Ramsey in the comments because $25K for a Honda at 7% APR. But also, was it a new car? Because that changes everything. If you're buying a new car off the lot, I think that's the stupidest thing you could do. I always buy used cars unless you're extremely wealthy. I don't see the point. The comments doesn't seem wild compared to others on the show. Yeah. Monthly payment is average for new cars. Well, again, new cars or new to the owner cars, because that makes a really big difference. Not a bad car loan. 7% on a car loan is a lot. I got 1.9, but interest rates were a lot lower then. So it's just, you have to have a car. They're necessities.
I'm amazed at the number of broke people who have strong opinions about my investing advice. It'd be like me having an opinion about growing hair on top of my head. That would be dumb. I'm amazed.
I mean, interesting. The comments, I knew they were going to be brutal. Well, if I file bankruptcy like him, I'd be good. Opposite of broke. I don't trust your advice. Out of touch with reality. Another guy selling a course so he can stay rich. Dave Ramsey sells an insane amount of stuff, and he sells it to people that don't know what they're doing with money. Look at all the books behind him. Look at all those books. They may have good information. Do you need 20 books? You know, the courses, everything he does, the financial advisors, the way he makes money, you know, it is interesting. And I don't know if he's even a financial advisor. So you get into kind of some murky waters with lawsuits and stuff, but people have a point. He filed for bankruptcy. He did terribly. There's a lot of people that didn't do that badly, but are still struggling. The times are different. A lot goes into the Dave Ramsey stuff, and I don't know where I land. It really goes like case by case basis for me.
Have you been applying for?
I wasn't doing like retail or fast food
What
for
jobs?
sure.
Why? Because that's the one industry that literally anyone can get a job today. That's not where I want you to work, but if we've ran out of our savings and we can't afford to survive, I think we're taking a paycheck from anywhere because any paycheck is more than $0.
I didn't want to work at a retail or
Okay,
fast food.
and that's a childish
And it is,
choice.
but see, even
because you have a
when-
kid to take care of.
Caleb, quit interrupting me, please.
Do you accept that you're wrong for that? Any money, $15 an hour for 40 hours a week is congratulations, more money than $0 when we can't afford to live. If you have no money and you're not getting unemployment or food stamps, you need money, which requires work, which might be at a job you do not like. You agree?
I don't. But
How?
we're just going to
Why?
keep arguing. Why does
No,
it
no,
matter
but
if
I
don't
want to hear
agree?
how you do not agree. How do you not agree that $1 is better than $0? How? Because if your maturity level is not there, then what's even the point of the conversation then going forward? What kind of jobs have you been applying for?
I wasn't.
This is funny because people are not on her side. She's a single mother. She doesn't want a job in retail or fast food. Honestly, you learn so much in those kinds of jobs, and I don't understand why shaming that kind of job. It's not necessarily something you need to make a career out of. People do, but you don't have to. It's a part-time thing that you're going to do for money. So it's also insane that she has a kid. I wonder if she's getting child support and they're living off of that, because how is she paying for anything for a child if she doesn't have a job? But yeah, people got really mad at her in the comments for job shaming people and saying that retail and stuff like that is not a good job. And it's like people that are in those positions, they don't necessarily want to do it long term or anything like that. It's a job. It's what you do. Everyone needs to have a job. You have to work. You have to work and make money, especially if you have a kid.
Honey, you're broke. You don't buy a house when you're broke. You are broke and in debt. You make $35,000 a year and have a 3-year-old and you're 24 years old. You don't go buy a house right now. This house will be a curse to you. Honey, you're broke.
Okay, these ones are always tough. These ones are very, very tough because it is completely situational. Now, the comments again. I start reading the comments. Homie got his first house for $8,000. My mortgage is less than my rent. So yes, I did. So yeah, there are situations where it makes sense to rent and where it makes sense to buy. And I'll tell you why I believe that to be true. Because renting, there's a lot, it depends on the market. It depends on your current interest rates, on your income, on what you're capable of doing. Because I thought about renting for a while. I purchased a home about a year ago. I have roommates, and so they help me pay for the mortgage. And so in that way, I am paying less than I would in rent. There's 3 of us. We live together, and the money's going into the house, going into the mortgage rather than just going to someone else who owns the property. But if I didn't have them, it would have made more sense to rent. And I'll tell you why. In just the last couple of months, I replaced a garage door for almost $1,400 out of the blue. I had $200 in other expenses for AC, as well as some duct work, and then also some electrical work that needed to be done. I have to redo my lawn. My roof needs to be redone within the next couple of years. I want to put solar on the house. And solar you wouldn't have to do. But if you're looking at the overall price and what you're going to do, it does make sense to rent sometimes. Because in my area, if I had either a roommate or even if I lived on my own, the rent in this area would be roughly $1,200 for maybe a 1-bed, 1-bath. And that's all I would need. If I live with a roommate in a 2-bed, 2-bath, it would be about $700 each. My mortgage is $2,000. So if I lived here alone, $2,000 is a lot. It's a lot. I don't want to be house poor. I don't want to put 50% of my take-home pay into my house. And so it's important to note that there are different categories in which it works. You can rent, if you're making decent money and you're renting for $700 a month, even $1,000 a month. If you're making $4,000 a month and you have $1,000 other expenses, you can save $2,000 a month. So there are caveats to this, and you need to realize that every situation is different, and some might be better, some might be worse for you specifically. There is no blanket statement that works for this, and I believe that wholeheartedly. Our last video of the group, and this one is rough.
This might be the worst financial situation I've ever seen. How are we going and spending $225 on just Chick-fil-A? Why are we doing that? But we're just not simply making a minimum monthly payment on a card. You have chosen Chick-fil-A over dealing with the bills that you have signed up to pay. Do you not care?
I do care. Like before I really combed through my finances, I was like, well, I'll be honest, I guess I didn't care. But now over the last few months, I'm like, where is all this money like going?
So if you didn't care before, I'm curious, like, what has made you?
Graduating college and realizing, can't survive on my own and my parents aren't going to help me forever.
Okay, you started wanting to change after graduation. This was your most recent statement, though. So this just happened. Yeah. We were just like, nah.
I was spending every last dime on, like, gas. Like, every day I was, like, filling up.
I can sympathize with that if we didn't just look at the statement through the same exact time of you just around and spending money on $250, which you had a minimum monthly payment of $40. You could have paid that.
I could have. I chose to ignore it.
There it is. This might be the worst.
These ones hurt. I forgot how bad this one actually is. Oh man. I don't understand. I understand the fast food thing. It has gone up in price so much that I think people don't understand that you used to be able to eat out. Like Taco Bell. I used to be able to get full at Taco Bell $5, maybe $6. Now it's 11 or 12. And I probably eat more than the average person, but that adds up like crazy. I can eat at home consistently for $5 to $6 now. And so everything has gone up. Grocery prices have gone up, yes, but now you have to change with what goes on in the world. People that grew up eating out more and now they're on their own like she is. You graduate college and all of a sudden you're on your own, you're paying your own bills. That's insane. She spent more in just that Chick-fil-A. Whether it was one order or multiple, she spent more on Chick-fil-A in 1 month than I spend on my groceries for a month. I try to keep my grocery bill at around $200. It's not easy. I don't always eat the food that I like or what I would want to eat, but It saves me money. And then guess what? When I'm 30 or 40, I can eat more food that I want to eat. So that's what you have to do. And again, this is the different generations where there's a little bit, I'll be honest, and I'm a member of the generation, so I can say it. There's some entitlement. I have friends that are like this. Well, I want to eat I want to eat out. I don't want to live, in poverty and just eat cheap food. You can do this, but you end up in these situations and it doesn't make sense. Just save money. These get me so frustrated, but they make me happy with some of the decisions I've made. So I hope you guys enjoy. Again, if you like this content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. No financial advice in this video, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.